Hi, I'm Maddie if you're new here, and today I'm going to be doing a review and initial thoughts of the new iPad Air with M2. Thank you all so much for the love on my unboxing and setup video. It was definitely unexpected, and yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and do this follow-up video for you all. In case you did not see that video, I will quickly go over the specs of what I got. So I got the iPad Air with M2 and 256 gigabytes of storage in Starlight, and then for the option I selected Wi-Fi and not cellular. And then for accessories I did get the Apple Pencil Pro and the Magic Keyboard in white. To start off, I wanted to address some of the questions I have been getting in the comments of that video. And starting off is how I like the M2 processing chip, and I am absolutely loving it. This iPad runs so well, so smooth. I have not had any issues with using it so far, which is really nice coming from an 8.5-year-old iPad that was definitely not running smoothly. I can already tell that this has so much power for really heavy and demanding apps. For example, Procreate, which is a drawing app, I know requires a lot of processing speed, especially when you have a lot of layers, because it's kind of like a Photoshop app, and I have used it for making some YouTube thumbnails over the past little bit, and it has been working perfectly. So I know that if I ever did want to use an Adobe product like Photoshop on here, that it can most definitely handle it. And I haven't tried it out yet, but I do want to try editing a video with Final Cut Pro and see how it handles it. But I think it honestly has a better processor than my MacBook, so it should be good to go. As I mentioned in my unboxing video, I'm primarily going to be using this iPad for school, so having the nice processing speed is really important, so that way I have a smooth workflow. With regards to if you need the M2 processing chip, or if you would be good with a different iPad model that does not have as strong of processing, I think it really depends on what you want to use it for. If you're planning to have your iPad fully replace your laptop, then I think having high processing speed with something like the M2 or M4 chip is going to be important. But if you're just looking to have your iPad for something on the side, then I think you would be fine with a lower quality processing unit that is in like the regular iPads. But honestly, all of the processing in the iPads now is really great, and Apple has done an amazing job. Moving on to the storage options, I got a few questions about the 128 versus 256. I went with the 256 because since I'm using it for school, I really didn't want to worry about running out of space, because since I want to use it as a notebook, I'm sure that GoodNotes is going to take up a lot of space on my iPad, and Procreate is also a pretty hefty app when it comes to storage, and those are the two main things that I use my iPad for, and I just didn't want to be like 3 years into using this iPad and running into storage problems. However, deciding which option is best for you, I think really comes down to answering what you're going to use your iPad for and what the storage requirements for that are. If you're primarily going to be using this on the side of your laptop for work and using like Google Docs and Google Slides, where that stuff isn't stored locally and just using the internet, then I think the 128 is absolutely plenty of storage. However, if you're like me and you're going to be using some apps that require a lot of space like GoodNotes or Procreate, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and up to the 256, so that way you don't run into issues down the road. I also got a few questions about screen size, in particular the 11-inch versus the 13-inch. I went with the 11-inch because, again, I'm planning to primarily use my laptop for most things, and this is kind of going to act like a notebook for me. So I thought the 11-inch was already a really nice screen size. I was coming from the original iPad Pro, which was I think 9.7, so the screen was already bigger than what I currently had. However, if you are looking for this to replace your laptop, then I think the 13-inch would be the way to go, just because working on an 11-inch screen all day might be a little small. Also, if you're someone who's looking to do a lot of visual stuff, if you're going to be using a lot of the Adobe Creative Cloud, for example, then the 13-inch could be nice as well, so that way you can see in more detail. And while the visual component is a big part of what I do on my iPad, it's primarily for YouTube thumbnails, which does not require the extra 2 inches of screen space. I have really been enjoying the 11-inch screen though. I think it's going to be perfect for carrying around in my backpack for school and for travel. I think the 13-inch would just be a bit much for what I'm looking to do with it. Also, I do have the larger screen size on my MacBook, so if there's something that I really need a bigger screen for, I always have my good old trusted Mac. One thing that I have been absolutely blown away with using this iPad is the battery life. Oh my goodness. So again, probably because my other iPad was so old, I was having to charge it all the time, and I couldn't use it as my notebook because it could not make it throughout the whole day using GoodNotes. But I have used this iPad pretty frequently for several days now, and on average it's only using 30 to 40% of battery per day, which is crazy. So I could go multiple days without charging this, using it for several hours each day, which is perfect for people looking to use this for school and travel like myself. Obviously, how long the battery lasts depending on what you're doing with it, and I've primarily been using GoodNotes and the Google Suite, but also Procreate, which is a pretty heavy app, and it didn't really use hardly any battery. So I am very, very impressed, Apple, very impressed. I did want to talk a little bit about the accessories because I did get some questions about that as well. So I got the Apple Pencil Pro, like I mentioned, and for the iPad model that I got, there are only 2 supported pencil types, the Pro and also the USB-C. If you're looking to get the Apple Pencil Pro, you should know that it's only supported by 2 iPad models right now. One is the iPad Air with M2 and the second is the iPad Pro with M4. So both of the newest iPad models support the Pencil Pro, but none of the older ones do. This pencil has a lot of features that the original Apple Pencil does not have, which is what I'm coming from. So my absolute favorite is the fact that it has the magnetic connection to the iPad and that automatically charges it. This means that theoretically I should never run into a situation where my Apple Pencil is not charged. I would always forget to charge my old Apple Pencil, and I would be in the middle of a Procreate project and it would just die. Then I'd have to wait for it to charge. So I'm so excited about the idea of not having to remember to charge it or remember to make sure it's in the case, because it's just going to be attached to the iPad. I think it is so cool that this pencil also has customizable settings, and there are a lot of features that are new to me, at least. Maybe they've been on other pencils and I just didn't know since I had the original. But I think it's really cool that you can be in GoodNotes writing, and let's say you make an error and you can just double tap and it'll switch to the eraser, and you can double tap back to the pen. I feel like that'll save me a lot of time when I'm writing. Also, I think this is a new feature specific to the Pro Pencil, and you can squeeze the barrel and it'll pop up a quick actions menu. So in GoodNotes, this is the undo button, which again is going to save so much time when writing. And in Notes, this will even whip out all of the different pens and highlighters that you can choose from. So I think that's just a really nifty tool. Also, one thing that I've noticed when using the pencil is the hover feature, and I'm not sure if I like this or if I want to turn it off, but basically if you have the pencil close to the screen and let's say you're about to pick a different color, it might go ahead and highlight oh, this is what you're gonna pick, but you still have to tap the pencil down to select it. So that's why I'm not sure if I really like it or not, but it is pretty neat. Moving on to the Magic Keyboard, I have really been liking it. It is such a sturdy case. So not that I want to drop the iPad, but if I were to, I have confidence that this is going to protect it very well just because of how sturdy and stiff it is. It is also great for traveling and treating your iPad like a laptop. So like I said, I've been playing around with with like doing some work that I would normally do on my laptop on the iPad, and the keyboard makes it so much easier, especially for typing. I would not want to be typing out a paper just on the screen. I feel like that would go so slowly. It would be like typing on a phone basically. So having the keyboard makes it so much nicer, and I think it'll be really great for traveling. For example, if I'm on an airplane and I need to be doing some work, I can type using the keyboard just like I had my laptop, but it's so much smaller and compact than my Big Mac. Also, the different angles that the screen goes to is really nice. So for example, it can be all the way flat like this, and then you can turn it all the way back to where it's pretty tilted. So I've really enjoyed being able to play around with the different angles, and again, it makes it feel more like a laptop. I will say the one thing is that it is a little hard to handwrite with this case. I found it most helpful to have the screen tilted all the way back and like rest my elbow on the desk and write from there. I do think that the folio cases are a little nicer for handwriting because you can prop it up just a little bit and have a really natural angle for handwriting, but this definitely still works for handwriting. I just feel like maybe my handwriting isn't as nice and neat, whereas if I had it flat on the table or had a folio case, I think it's just more of something that I need to get used to. I'm sure once I handwrite with the Magic Keyboard a little bit more, it will become more natural and start to look more like my handwriting. But I am really happy that I got the Magic Keyboard to go with it, just because it is a really nice setup and it makes doing schoolwork on the iPad a lot easier, having the keyboard to like type in Google Docs and make presentations, and I just know this is going to be something that I use a lot. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if there are any other iPad related videos you would like to see in the comments, and subscribe while you're down there. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.
It's not about personality matrixels and charts. It's all about the bumps in your heart.